Hey, welcome, welcome. So, my name is Hassan. I'm the CEO and founder of the Father Factory. We work with men who have experienced childhood molestation. I'm excited to be with you guys today. Uh, we're going to talk probably briefly or however the time allows us to be able to do so, but I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today. We're actually going to talk about what have you lost that you never grieved? What have you lost that you never grieved? We're going to give people some time to join us, be a part of what we're doing, what we're discussing today. This is my first time doing this, so we will work our way through it. All right. Let's see. Again, this is my first live. We'll get it going. But welcome. Welcome to the talk. Welcome to the chat. All right. I want to make sure that you guys can hear me, that we're here. Make sure everything is good to go. If it is, just send me a thumbs up or something and let me know we're good. And I'm probably asking for a thumbs up. That's not even how it works, but it's all good. All right. Let's make sure we're good. All right. All right. I want to make sure. All right. Thank you, Yadida. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome. Ethan, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to make sure that I can see everybody. Uh, welcome. Welcome all that are here. Really excited about you being here. We just want to talk. We're the Father Factory. My name is Hassan. I'm a survivor of childhood molestation, and I do talks all over to talk about awareness around men who have experienced this as children. Really just excited about being able to do this work and to see transformation happening in people's lives. And so the topic today is just this. It's what have you lost that you have never grieved? What have you lost that you have never grieved? What have you lost that you've never grieved? What is that for you? It's going to be checking. Smooth complexion. God is good. God is good. All right. I want to make sure that I'm able to see what you guys like to say and like to ask, and even to talk about this particular topic. So one of the things you want to talk about with this is that um, what have you lost that you've never grieved? And what I know about, um, we're going to talk about a couple of things. What I know about is that if you don't ever grieve uh, some core things in your life, you're going to wind up manifesting um, acts of what we can call sin, or things that are going to bring shame and disgrace in your life later on, if you are not actively grieving this. This is the month that we are celebrating and bringing awareness to men's mental health. And it's really important to stay with yourself and like really check in with yourself. There's so much that's going on in our world that we want to make sure that we are doing just that. So this idea of grieving, what is grieving for you? What does that mean for you? What does it mean to grieve? And probably let's start off with just thinking about what does it mean that something that you lost, right? Something that you lost, or someone that you lost, whatever you lost that you've never grieved. And when I think about this, I think about my father. All right, didn't know my father growing up. Uh, didn't have that opportunity to get to know who he was and what he was about. And I never, like, even upon hearing that he had passed away, it just never hit me. It wasn't something that I actively grieved or felt anything about. And so when you think about that and you process that, you start thinking about, well, what other ways have you actually dealt with that loss other than grieving? And think of that for yourself. Like, what has that been for you that you have grieved or not grieved, or grieved in a way that you're not conscious that you're grieving and going through something? What has that been for you? What has it been like? Right? And what has it been for you? What loss that you have never grieved? Have you ever stopped to even think about that particular question, that thought? If you're not familiar with the Bible and the scriptures, there's tons of stories, tons of people in the scriptures that are really main figures that have experienced some horrific, tragic things that have happened in their lives, and they've done evil things to other people in their lifetime. And so, thinking about that, I want to focus on King David in the Bible and what his life is all about. If you ever get a chance, please read 2 Samuel chapter 12. That entire chapter really sums up a large portion of what leads to a downfall in the life of David. And if I could look at that and title that any way, I would say that David did not grieve his loss, right? So he did not grieve his loss, and it led to a number of things. It led to David experiencing what I'm going to call it. So we're going to be real transparent with this: the rape of Bathsheba. Right? He is the king. He is the king at the time, and he summons this woman who is a married woman to his chambers, and he lays with her. Right? Like, what leads to this? You might look and say, well, oh, it's lust. It was his lust. He didn't check his lust, and that's the issue. But what I want to tell you is that that's really the surface of what it is that David is actually showing forth. David's actually, and I want you to think of that for yourself. Like, what has your unresolved grief manifest in? What has it looked like for you? Like, what expression has it taken on? Has it taken on adultery? Has it taken on lust? Has it taken on drug abuse? Has it taken on alcoholism? Has it taken on workaholic, being a workaholic? Whatever it has it taken on overeating or eating unhealthy foods? Right? Has it taken on some type of addiction? And oftentimes we feel like when we can identify what the particular expression of this thing is, that we're good. Like, oh yeah, stay there. And if I just like focus on that, then I'm good. I can deal with that. Then I don't have to worry about anything else that's like coming up in my life. But that was the issue with David, right? It was horrible that he rapes Bathsheba, right? But the underlining force that actually kept driving emotions or actions like that, is something to really think about for David, right? So the underlining action, like force for David, what do you think that is? You can put it in the chat. What do you think that was for David? That he manifests in this way of committing the rape, taking this woman's life, taking this woman and lying with her, killing her husband. It's just like a chain of things that actually took place. While we can look and say lust and adultery and all of those things, there were underlining things. And I want to suggest to you today that if you look at your behavior, and I often talk about this with our men, is that you want to stop and think about what is the cry of your heart. What is the cry of your heart? So, the expression of your sin, the way that you express sin, the way that you express the thing that brings shame, the thing that brings guilt, the thing that kind of separates you or offends others, right? And even offends your humanity and what you stand for, is driven by something. And oftentimes is driven by a cry of the heart. So, what is the cry of the heart that is taking place? If we think about that example for David specifically, we have to think about like what took place just before the rape of Bathsheba. What happened there? Well, we go back and David is successfully winning battles. He's back to back going into war. He's winning all of these battles. And then David comes to a point where, when all of the kings have gone out to go to battle, David says, I'm not going. He sends someone else to go to battle. And at right there, we see the shift in his behavior, right? But we still don't kind of get the cry of his heart, right? So the shift of his behavior is, I'm not going to battle. I'm not. I'm going to take a respite, right? And oftentimes, the cry of our heart calls for us to do something that aids us, that meets the need. So if we have a action that we express or a sin that we commit, we want to listen for the cry of the heart. The cry of the heart is always going to be about, take care of me. The cry of the heart is always going to be about unmet needs that we have, that we're crying out for. And so maybe we can assume in this case for David, it's probably fatigue, right? So I've just done it. I'm fatigued of going to war. Or we could say that he is just bored, right? We win all the time anyway. Let me just send out those, my soldiers, let them go and do that, right? But whatever it is that that cries of his heart happens, he moves in this action. Your actions will always determine what the cry of your heart is, if we're listening to it. And again, we're talking about, what have you lost that you never grieved? If you're thinking about loss, you're thinking about something that you see as essential, something that was vitally important to you, something that added to who you were and who you are. And now that thing, that person is no longer there. And then this idea of grieving over that. Like, when's the last time you had a cry? I was on a podcast one time, and the person interviewing me asked, like, what do you do to kind of unwind, and what do you do to just, take care of yourself? And I told her, I said, I open up the vial, and she said, what do you mean? I said, I open up that part of my heart that says it's okay to cry. Have a good cry. And I said, just because of having experienced molestation in my life, I have to learn how to feel. I had to learn how to pause a moment and say, what do I feel? What's going on? And so I one of the mediums for me to just get in touch with things is, I put on a song that just helps me to just, take care of me in a moment and bring on a cry, right? And so, right, there's a cry that's on the inside of us that we want to pay attention to. want to pay attention to this cry. Like, what's happening in you? What's what's transitioning? What's going on, right? And when we look at what's going on and what's happening, right, there are things to do with that. So I just wanted to just really take this moment. There's so much to unpack here. I'll be doing more lives. I want to make sure that this is just not something just talk, but really something that meets the heart and meets what's going on for you, and really serves to help you. So I'll leave you with this piece of it. It's like we want to stop and think about the loss that we have experience, and we want to process that through grieving. But the way that we want to grieve is we want to grieve to cry out for the unmet needs that are in us. We want to look to God for that. And the reason why we want to look to God, or we want to look outside of ourselves for that, is because if we could have given it to ourselves, then we wouldn't even need it to grieve. But the fact that we need to grieve, it's a calling outside of us. And our Creator is the one who allows us to experience and to be human. And so we want to cry out to Him in that way and say, meet those unneed mets. No, I keep saying that, meet those unmet needs in me. Meet those unmet needs in me. Like, we're first, like, coming to a consciousness of being cognizant of what that is. Like, what are those unneed mets in me? What is David experiencing? Is he experiencing boredom? Is he experiencing the sense of wanting to be appreciated, wanting to be noticed, wanting to be needed, right? Um, if those needs are identified, and then when identified, turned over to God to ask God to meet those needs, we're going to try to meet those needs, those godly needs in us, in an ungodly way. And when we meet them in an ungodly way, the way that that happens is that we will look at people and we will see tools, things that we could use. They're not image bearers anymore. They're people that we can use to get and accomplish what we want in that moment. We never want to be in that place because we're made for a greater purpose than just that. I want to thank you for this opportunity and time to do this first live. I'll get much better at this as we go along. Hang in there with me. When you see these notifications, please check in with us, right? Shoot a note to let us know, hey, was there, heard what was said, this stood out for me. Could you talk about this a little more, or can you mention that? That would be awesome. I would be so excited to hear from you and see that take place. Again, my name is Hassan Daniel, the CEO of The Father Factory. Visit us at our website, www.thefatherfactory.com, and leave us a note there to let us know someone that you might know that is experiencing, dealing with the impact of childhood sexual violence. Till next time, God bless and peace.